Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. I should really be tidying my craft room, but I am procrastinating. I feel like now I need this for my soul, so hopefully I won't be spending too much time on this little project, but I couldn't wait to show you this. It's actually been 2 weeks, I think, almost since I have received this stamp. Nowadays, I'm quite mindful what enters my craft room, and I try not to buy stamps on a whim. But I saw this one here in one of Natasha Foot's videos. And when I just tried to find the video, I realized it was actually a video from 6 months ago. So when I saw this stamp on her channel, she had two from the same design. It's Creative Expressions, designed by Andy Skinner, and she had a little boy sitting with a balloon, and then she had this one. And I don't know what it was, I got so nostalgic about it and very excited, so I went online, had a look, found it on one UK website, but with delivery it was £12, which is a lot of money for a stamp. And it is a rubber stamp here. It comes with a sentiment as well. So I waited. It was one of those late night browsers online, and when I went on it again in the morning, I still was very excited about it, and I thought, you know what, I treat myself to this stamp. But I made a vow to myself, if I buy this stamp, I'm going to use it properly. I'm going to use it on various cards, and it won't go into the vaults. I will frequently use this because I think this is really a versatile stamp for me anyway, because I don't know, you can use it for birthdays, but you can just, send it as like thinking of you. For me, I don't know why I get so excited about that. Maybe it's an age thing. But anyway, I'm not enticing you to buy this stamp. I don't even know whether it's still available now. As I said, I bought it about 2 weeks ago. But I want to show you different techniques, how you can use the same stamp but get a completely different look to your cards. So I have gone ahead and I have stamped, and some of them heat embossed this stamp already. So the first one is a classic black and white stamp. You see here the size as well, because of packaging it's a little bit smaller. So you can see all the shading on it. It's like a proper pencil or charcoal drawing. I've got a bit of sort of speckles going on, but that might be part of the stamp as well. Oh, by the way, a little tip, I didn't have an acrylic block big enough, so I just used my clear, well, glittery clear die cutting plate. This is luckily not warped, so that was fine for stamping with this. I thought it would go into my Tim Holtz stamping platform, and although it's got a rubber setting, this one was actually too thick because it's got the rubber layer and then it's got a very thick like foam layer on it, so that didn't work in that. So this is the, as I said, the plain black one. And then with the same VersaFine black, I just stamped it again and used some copper embossing powder. I really like the copper embossing powder because if you don't have any light on it, it looks just brown, almost, sort of a really dark brown. But when the light hits it, you've got this lovely shimmer to it. So I thought I'd give that a try and see what I can do with that. And also I like embossing powder because it can resist various media, so you can get a nice effect and can go all over this. Then I, without cleaning my stamp properly, I used some pine cone on it. So I had a mix of pine cone and the black, and I heat embossed that in clear. So again, I've got the resistance there of the ink. Some of the details I found got a little bit lost here, maybe even more so here, but that's the thing with embossing powder. So, but I thought I can do quite a few things with that. And then I cleaned my stamp, but I still had some residue on it, and I thought I'd go for a more subtle look, and I used the VersaFine Clear Sand Dune. So although I've got a few specks of black in there, it's mostly this sort of beigey colour, because my idea was I would like to use some maybe watercolor crayons or something to create a more subtle look. And I don't know if I mentioned that already because my brain doesn't function properly. I was thinking when I first saw this of Christopher Robin from Winnie the Pooh. So I thought I would like to recreate one of those images, and they are really subtle colours in the original book. So let me clear a few supplies away, and then I'll start with my first card. My first card will be really simple. This one is a little bit Banksy inspired, because my idea was just to colour in the balloon in red. And I could use this one here, the plain stamping, but I find because I want to use the alcohol marker, because that's my most vibrant red. So I thought I'm going to use the heat embossed version here. So I don't really need to show you how to colour in an element. The only thing you need to be mindful of is obviously the embossing powder resists the alcohol ink. So after you've coloured it in, and you need to make sure you get into the nooks and crannies there. Sometimes I have to dab rather than move over it sort of sideways. And then I'm just taking some scrap paper, or you can use some tissue paper, and I'm making sure I'm lifting off the residue. That's, can you see that, a few spots there? I should have been mindful not to use that, because that could have come off on my paper. But I think this is all I want to do with it. I'll leave it for a moment. I might consider using a little bit of a shimmer pen, but I really want a hint of shimmer, or maybe some glaze. But I'll leave it for now. So all I would do with this one here is to matte it on either some black or some red, and I will show you the different look you get with that in a second. When I'm trying to find out which colour I actually want for matting, I actually get them out and have a look on the effect. So if you have a look at this, I quite like this. It's very neutral, it's very bold in its own sort of right of way. But if you pop it on the red, you see that I think pops a little bit more, and I think I prefer the red. Again, maybe I would think about the recipient, so it really depends on what you want it for. So if it's more like a celebration thing, I would probably go for the red, or if it wanted to be a bit more sophisticated and arty, I think black would be lovely as well. I have cut, by the way, I've cut these pieces down. They're all from an A4 sheet, so they're 5 7/8 at the moment by 4 1/8, I think. So I will have to cut it a little bit slimmer to go on a 6x4 card. So I think, no, I think I'll go for the black. I quite like the sophisticated look. And that's all I would do to this one here. I'll show you all the finished cards at the end. For the second card, I'd like to do a little bit of controlled ink smooshing, but I would like to mask my images. So what I've done is I have stamped the image on just some scrap, like a copy paper, really thin paper, and I've really very roughly cut this out, because you don't really need the outer bits, you don't need to cut those. I just want these solid areas to be masked. And I don't mind the background coming in a little bit on that. So I'm just sticking these, I've just got the boy and the balloon. I'm going to stick these on the actual image with some removable adhesive. I can just rub that off afterwards. And I'm really just putting a little bit in the middle so that it won't shift. And that just goes there. So I didn't make a great effort cutting these out, but the important thing is that you cut the mask a tiny bit smaller. The last thing you want is a halo on these. Just realize I need to come in a little bit, I think. So, and then on the side here, I've got some acetate sheets. This is just some packaging from my stamps I recently bought from the post office. So I want to put some ink down on these, and then just basically create the background. I just realized I need to have a little bit of tape or glue on that. Just a little bit. There we go. So for the sky, for the background, I've just picked two blues here because I couldn't decide. So I've got a little bit of blue at all. You need some water reactive inks, but can use the oxides or the distress inks. So I've just got a bit of a mix here, and I'm adding some water just with my spray bottle, and going to mix this a little bit. So now I can see if I want a little bit more colour. I think I do, so I can again go on here. Could even use a whole pad. Put this one on the top here because I probably need a little bit more ink. And I called it controlled ink smooshing because I can see through the acetate a little bit where I'm applying this. So I'm lifting this up now, moving this over, and because it is a bit messy, I put a cardboard piece in the background there. So let me just zoom in for you. So now I can use that. It doesn't matter which way around I'm doing it, whether I'm doing this way around or this way around, but I don't want to get on the bottom bit because that's where I want to apply some green. So I'm just pressing it down like this. Can you see? So, but I see, and I haven't got any pressure there, so I haven't got any ink down there yet, and then I can see through the acetate where I need to apply a little bit more. And depending how wet you've got the ink, it runs a little bit more. You can dry this in between if you want to. I need to apply a little bit more around the images here because I think that just a little layer of copy paper resists this piece a little bit, and then I have got the halo that I didn't want to have in the first place. So I think I'm happy with that. So if you want more, add more. I could just add some water and loosen this here, but I think I'm fine with that. I always find sometimes if I just go back and do too much, then yeah, I think I'll ruin it. So I think I'll leave it at that. I've got a little bit of blue going on here, but that doesn't matter. So I've got a smaller piece of acetate. Here it is. I hope I didn't go off camera there when I put it on. I can't remember now. So for that, I've just got the pine here because I don't have that many greens. I'll have a look if I can always come in with a second colour afterwards. So again, just mixing that up a little bit. Although I could have left it as it is, but I didn't want the shape, oval shape of the ink pad there. So, and then coming in, I just wanted to be at the bottom here. You can see this is a bit wetter, so that runs a little bit more. Let me just zoom in again for you. Move this up a little bit. But I could also come in with a paper towel and mop this up. What I would like though is a bit more of an edge there. Also, I think my horizon is a little bit wonky, but that doesn't matter. That came from another stamping. So I'm just putting a little bit more ink on my acetate here. I'm not adding any more water. I will just move that water to the top there. And then try to use the edge of the acetate to fill the area where I definitely want something here on the horizon. Ooh, a little bit of a water green drop up there. Can lift that up in a second. So it's really up to you what sort of texture you want, how much you want. That's a great thing about the smooshing techniques. Is a little bit controlled, but not completely. I'm trying to brush that to the side without mucking up too much. I could come in with some water, but I probably will cut it off anyway then. So I need a little bit more there. So what I will actually do, so I'm just checking which side I'm on, I will actually come in with a brush there and just add a little bit there. So I'm leaving that to dry now before I do anything else to that, and I start on card number 3. For card number 3, this is the heat embossing with a cup of copper. I would like to do something similar, create a background, this time without masking because I don't have that many areas that will actually take the ink. So I'm coming in with my gel plate. I have marked a little bit here on the side where the horizon would be because I would like to stamp both colours at the same time, but I'm laying this sideways so it's easier for me to apply the colour. So I'm going in with the same colours, so I've got the Della Blue and the Blue Atoll here, and I'm just using my brayer to ink this up. This interestingly has got some silver on it. Same here, my gel plate has got some residue, but I'm not fussed about that. So I have to think. So I want to create a horizon here with a blue. And I'm moving it sort of gently over. Once I've set the horizon there, I'm moving it gently over, making sure I've got ink everywhere and I haven't got the brayer lines. I need a bit of scrap paper here to roll this off and clean it. And then I will apply, so I didn't use a Della Blue. I think, yeah, I'll just go for one colour. You can also, I did a recent video on that, you can also come in with your brushes or dinkles. But I think I'll do it, keep it simple today. So the green is really difficult to see. I'm sure I've got enough on there. Yeah, sometimes it's really tricky to see whether you've got it on there, and you don't see it until you've actually stamped it. So I'm moving this to the side now. I'm placing my card on here, and now I'm lifting the gel plate up with the acetate on the back, and that allows me to stamp with it. So now it is really difficult for me to see where I have actually got the green line. I've got a suspicion it's here, so I'm just letting it down there. I should have marked something on the actual acrylic here on the back, but I think it's fine. But this way I can see where I need to press down, so that I've got good coverage of it. You can, if you want to, spritz the gel plate as well before you put it down. I sometimes think I've got enough colour on there, so I can now peel it off and have got this look. Oh, I think there might have been some residue of green on the background, but I quite like that look. Can you see? It's sort of very subtle, and you can see where I've got some sort of specks on here. That's also on my gel plate. I do enjoy that when I've got that, but it could probably do with a good clean. But yeah, I like this look. So I can now come in and actually move that colour about with a little bit of water. Let me just get that ready. Just popping in. I just took some scrap paper here to take the remaining ink off, and I forgot. When you're stamping with it, or stamping on embossing powder, the ink stays on the gel plate, so I've actually got like a mirror ghost print. If I had thought about that before, I could have made basically a twofer out of this, because I quite like the look of that as well. But unfortunately now it's on this scrap paper, so I can't use it. So where I have got colour here that I don't necessarily want, I can do something which is called for bleaching, which means, because you've got water reactive inks, you just use some water. I've just got a little bit on acrylic block. I've got a clean brush, and I'm applying the water here on the balloon, and that will loosen that ink. And then I can come in here with my toilet paper or tissue paper, and I can lift that up. Can you see how it's coming off? Might have to leave it to sit for a little bit longer. I'm working on my usual 300 GSM from Craft UK Limited, so it takes quite a bit of water, and I can leave that water to sit there and to dissolve that ink. Sometimes the difference is not as obvious. Some inks are easier to remove than others. But if I wanted to, and I might do that afterwards anyway, I could come in with another colour and paint over that. Yeah, it's still a bit tricky to see, and I think the green underneath doesn't help, but I'm sure that's a water reactive ink anyway, because I think it's from when I made the Easter egg cards. So I'm having a third go. I think I'll leave this to sit for a moment before I mop it up, and I will start on card number 3. Sorry, card number 4. For my 4th card, I was a bit undecided whether I just want to use my coloured pencils. I've got the Black Widow here, the Scorpion, and the actual Black Widow, or whether I want to come in with my watercolour crayons. At first I thought, because I've already shown you some water reactive inks, I would go for the pencils, but I think because these are bigger areas and I can move the colour around a little bit, I think I will actually use these here. You don't need watercolour pencils, you can use your water reactive inks just with a brush and some water. I just realised I've got some missing here. So it's probably the black. I like to use that sometimes for some shading or to give some base. So I'm not an expert at this, so I would just really come and very lightly apply the colour. Again, I'm going for the blue for the background, and I will probably do that off camera in a moment. So really very lightly touching this. I'm not even sure the camera picks it up. It doesn't show on my screen. So I'll probably even get as close as I can to that little man. So and I think then I would come in with another blue and sort of fill this up a little bit. Same with the green here. Well, I tell you what, this one here, I won't do in green. I will actually do that in a brownish sort of sand colour. Make it look like it's the beach, just to show you a different look. Can you see? This one I can apply a little bit more and give some texture. So I will take my time with this a little bit, making sure I've got enough colour going to the edges so I'm not missing out on anything. And I will also colour him in probably a bit more solid colour, but I'll show you that off camera. Apologies if you like watching something like that, like a process, but as I said, I'm not really an expert and I want to keep this video as short as possible. So I've coloured it in. That didn't take me longer than 2 minutes. So I've got 2 shades of blue, 2 shades of this sort of sand colour here, and then I've got the blue here, a little bit of brown, sort of a reddish brown, and a red for the balloon. So I'm starting with the smaller details, and I've got some water here again and a brush, just testing that it's clean, and I'm just moving the ink a little bit about here and bringing to the edge of the stamp, because I haven't actually coloured it in completely. Sorry, I'm just zooming in a little bit. Don't want too much water, just make sure everything is covered. And because I've used the VersaFine Clair, the ink, that is not water reactive, so that will stay in place. So I've just did a little bit of brown here that I want to move about. Haven't put anything on the legs, I just leave that as it is. So I've got the red here, just conscious I think my camera is wobbling a little bit. And then the balloon. Again, making sure I'm going to the edges because I've only coloured in the middle bit. And I want to move the colour to the outside just with my brush and blend it in with that sand colour. Could have been a bit more vibrant maybe, but then again I wanted to go for this more subtle look. So, and for these areas here, I want to use a fan brush and really very lightly move the colour about. Zooming out a little bit for that. So, sorry, I'm just picking up some water here, and then I just want to sort of go across and just shift it a little bit. I'm trying to stay clear of the balloon, obviously. Trying to show you that. And you see the difference where it has reacted with the water. If you don't like this sort of streaky look, you don't have to come in with a fan brush. This is maybe not even the best one. I've got a different one here as well. I'm not sure that's a clean one. No, it isn't. So better stay clear of that. So. And as always, I say that lots of times, it's about the playing and the enjoying what you're doing. Don't be too critical with yourself. I just thought, I just wanted to use these stamps, and sorry, this stamp, and it makes me really, really happy. So I'm just getting some more water here. I'm just making sure I don't have too much excess of the blue there. And then the bottom one is a bit easier because I can go right across. I'm just pressing this down a little bit. You see how the watercolor ink gets activated. Yeah, so I'm happy with that because I think it looks a bit like the sea rather than the sky. I could sort of blend it in a little bit more on the top, but I think I'll leave it as it is. So I'm leaving that to dry, and then I'll show you a few different ways of how to put these elements on your main card to get a different effect. One thing I've forgotten is to show you the reveal when I peel these off here, the masks off. So any sort of residue I can just rub off with my finger. Yeah, it comes off like that. And then these images, sorry, this image of the balloon and the little boy, they have remained white. And again, I could come in and colour those in, but I actually like this look, having them sort of, clear, whereas I've got the background coloured. So my 4 cards are finished. So this is the first one. I've matted it as planned on black. I have added a little bit of shimmer pen to the red balloon there, but all that needs now is at one point to have a sentiment. Just looking here, might be a bit of a embossing powder there, just a speck. So I can add a happy birthday if I wanted to, or as I said, thinking of you, or just use it as it is and put a sentiment on the inside. Then the second card. For this one, I have actually cut the panel down because this stamp is so big and there's not much happening on the side. This one allows you to cut it down, and I have then matted it also on black just to tie in with a black stamp, and I have also stamped the sentiment, also matted that on black. I found before it was getting a bit lost and I thought it needed it. So, and I just wanted to show you this. This is why I haven't glued it down yet, because I've already got 2 layers of cardstock here, the black and the 300 GSM. I just put 2 little pieces of scrap white cardstock there, so when I glue it in place, I've got the same level here as I have on this side, and I think it will just go there at the bottom, just like that. Maybe making sure I've got even space on either side, but I think this is fine. Another option that I thought about is having a sentiment just stamped on the side here, but I wasn't brave enough to stamp straight onto the card base. That's why I put it on the strip here, which was just a scrap from my table. So the third one, evolved somewhere from this here, but I've also done this technique before, is I've just cut the panel into 3 strips. I chopped it off at the top and the bottom equally, so I cut them down. I think these are now, let me just measure them again. They're only 5 inches in height now, so that I could have a play with them and sort of have them ascending here. You can also, if you wanted to have just move the middle panel up and move this one down again. It really depends on what you like. I want to zoom into this one though, because I want to show you the full bleaching. It is quite light, but it's not as light as I wanted it. So I thought I'd just come in with a pastel pen and I can go into these areas and just add a little bit of more white. It's a bit tricky with the embossing powder there, but I can basically get a bit more of a white look. If I wanted to, I might do that at a later stage. I could come in with different colours and just colour over that. I might even find myself do that before I take the thumbnail, the photo for the thumbnail. I sometimes think about these things and then I just do them anyway. But with this one here, I would probably come in with the Kuretake pens, because although they're vibrant in colours, they're not like the alcohol markers, so I've got no chance of them bleeding there. So yeah, but I really like the look of that. And again, if I haven't added a sentiment yet, I can easily stamp something small here at the bottom. So, and the fourth card, another idea, something you can do with your images then, is just to frame them on the front of the card. Not like here, but have actually a frame on top. In hindsight though, I should have cut the panel underneath to the same width as the frame. I cut it a little bit shorter, slimmer and shorter, and that meant that the frame wasn't on the same height all the way through, so I've got some gaps here. As I said, that was like just a hindsight, but I'm not quite happy with the balloon here. I wanted a bolder color, so I'm just coming in with another watercolor pencil and I'm just going over the top here, and because it's quite smooth, I might not even have to come in with the water, but I wanted this really to be bold. So I'm just using this like a crayon. It's quite soft as well. So almost like a pastel pen. And I might even, because I have it here, sorry, I should have zoomed in a little bit. I might even come in here with the white and give it that sort of look. I could even come in with a gel pen, but I think I quite like that. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with this now as well. Again, I haven't added a sentiment, yeah, but I'm really pleased with these. Again, I've got sometimes got specks everywhere. Can you see the gold speck there? Might be glitter from my cutting board, I'm not sure. At the moment, everything seems to be glittered here on the desk. But yeah, I think these are lovely cards, if I may say so myself, without blowing my own trumpet. And I hope I could give you some ideas on what to do with a single stamp that gives a different look to your image. So I hope, yeah, you found this useful. As I said, I'm not encouraging you to buy this stamp, but maybe you've got something in your stash, even if it's like a simple butterfly, a flower, something that you enjoy using or maybe haven't used for a while, and you would like to get out and try some different techniques for backgrounds, for the stamping itself, or even for the colouring. Yeah, if you like my cards, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.